Hello, Dynasty women. Move in silence, only speak when it's time to say checkmate. That's not just advice, it's a survival strategy. Here's a fact. The rarest personality types in the world tend to be the most misunderstood. And guess who falls into that category? Sigma females and Sigma males. You don't fit the mold, you don't follow the crowd, and frankly, most people can't figure you out. Some admire you, some fear you, others just sit there, baffled, wondering why you don't seem to play by the same social rulebook as everyone else. But here's the catch. Just because you operate differently doesn't mean you've mastered the game. Being a Sigma isn't just about rejecting society's nonsense. It's about navigating life with precision, strategy, and a level of self-mastery that keeps you untouchable. So, if you're tired of feeling like an outsider in a world obsessed with labels, if you want to sharpen your edge and move like a true Sigma without second-guessing yourself, you're in the right place. Because today, we're not just talking about how to be better. We're talking about how to be unstoppable. Number 1, leave people wanting more. Being too available or too predictable. Being too available is the fastest way to become invisible. The moment people feel like they have unlimited access to you, they stop valuing it. It's human nature. Anything that's always there gets taken for granted. That's why Sigma females master the art of being just out of reach, always leaving people wanting more. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that makes sure their presence is never overused or underappreciated. Most people try too hard to be liked. They overextend themselves, answer messages immediately, always show up, always explain, always engage. And what happens? People stop appreciating them. They become predictable, expected, and worst of all, forgettable. A Sigma female refuses to be anyone's background noise. She makes her presence valuable by keeping her energy exclusive. She's the type who doesn't always respond right away, not because she's playing games, but because she's genuinely busy living her life. She doesn't say yes to every invitation because she knows that her absence builds intrigue. When she does show up, people notice. They listen. They wonder what she's been up to. They crave more of her energy because she doesn't throw it around like loose change. There's something magnetic about someone who isn't always accessible. It creates an element of mystery, and mystery forces people to chase. They start thinking about you when you're not there. They start wondering what's going on in your world. The key is balance. You don't vanish completely, but you also don't overstay your welcome. You master the exit before your presence becomes ordinary. This applies to everything. Relationships, friendships, even social media. The more you post, the more people scroll past you. The more you share, the less people care. But when you step back, when you make them wonder, when your presence becomes rare, suddenly people pay attention. Suddenly your words hold weight. Suddenly you're not just another face in the crowd, you're someone worth noticing. Sigma females don't beg for attention. They create a natural pull by being selective with their presence. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, the one who knows when to disappear holds the real power. Number 2, master the I don't need you energy. Neediness is like a bad smell. It pushes people away before you even say a word. The second someone senses you need their approval, their time, or their validation, they lose interest. It's not even something they do consciously. It's just human psychology. People are drawn to those who stand firm on their own, who exude a quiet confidence that says, I'm good with or without you. That's the energy a Sigma female embodies. She doesn't cling, she doesn't beg, she doesn't orbit around people hoping for a scrap of attention. In fact, she does the opposite. She makes others prove they're worthy of being in her space. This isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. She knows that the moment she starts chasing, she loses value in the eyes of others. But when she keeps her distance, when she makes people earn even a fraction of her time, suddenly, she's the one in control. Think about how people react to exclusivity. The harder something is to get, the more people want it. That's why luxury brands don't throw discounts at you. They make you prove you belong in their world. Sigma females move the same way. They don't give unlimited access. They don't over-explain. They don't flood people with messages or bend over backwards to be liked. They know that when someone feels their absence, that's when the real pull happens. This isn't about playing games. It's about shifting the dynamic. The moment people sense you need their attention, they start pulling away. But when they sense you're perfectly fine on your own, they can't help but come closer. It's almost irritating for them. They want to know why you're so unbothered, why you're not chasing, why you seem so content in your own lane. And that curiosity, that frustration, it works in your favor. Sigma females don't just attract people. They make them work for a place in their lives. And the ones who are willing to put in that effort, those are the only ones worth keeping around. Number 3, use people's perception against them. People love to think they've figured you out. They take one look at you, make a few lazy assumptions, and confidently file you into a box that fits their limited perception. A Sigma female doesn't waste energy correcting them. She lets them believe whatever they want. If they assume she's weak, harmless, or naive, she nods, smiles, and watches as they unknowingly hand her the advantage. Underestimation is a weapon. When people think you're not a threat, they drop their guard, they show their true intentions, they reveal their weaknesses, and just when they think they have the upper hand, boom, they realize too late that they were playing checkers while you were playing chess. This is why Sigma females never announce their strength. They don't walk around flexing their intelligence, resilience, or capability. They let people assume whatever they want, knowing full well that when the moment comes, their actions will speak louder than any declaration ever could. This strategy is especially powerful in competitive environments. The ones who are loud, aggressive, and desperate to prove themselves often burn out quickly. Meanwhile, the Sigma female plays the long game. She watches, listens, and gathers information while everyone else is busy trying to dominate the room. And when she finally makes her move, it's so precise and unexpected that no one sees it coming. The beauty of this approach is that it requires no effort. People will underestimate you naturally. It's just human arrogance. They assume a quiet woman is a weak woman. They assume kindness means you can be walked over. They assume that because you're not constantly seeking attention, you must not have much to offer. Let them believe it. Their ignorance is your advantage. By the time they realize who they're dealing with, it's too late. And the best part, you never had to prove a thing. They exposed themselves. They played right into your hands. And all you had to do was sit back, watch, and wait for the perfect moment to remind them that you were never the fool in the room. They were. Number 4, accept that you will be misunderstood. Most people live their lives trying to fit in, so when they come across someone who genuinely doesn't care about fitting in, they don't know how to process it. They'll project their own insecurities onto you, call you difficult, cold, or even arrogant just because you don't play by their rules. A Sigma female accepts this without flinching, because the alternative is shrinking herself to be more digestible, and that's never going to happen. Being misunderstood isn't just a possibility, it's inevitable. People fear what they can't define, and a Sigma female refuses to be predictable, controllable, or easily categorized. The average person thrives on labels: friend, enemy, leader, follower. But Sigmas move outside those lines. One minute they're kind and engaging, the next they disappear into their own world without explanation. To those who need everything to fit in a neat little box, this is frustrating. And when people can't define you, they start assuming the worst. They might see your independence as arrogance, your need for solitude as rudeness, your ability to walk away as cold-heartedness. And the best part? It doesn't matter. A Sigma female doesn't waste time explaining herself to people committed to misunderstanding her. She doesn't beg for approval or try to soften herself to make others comfortable. She lets them think whatever they want while she continues doing exactly what she was going to do anyway. This is why she stands out, because most people are desperate to be liked, to be understood, to be accepted. They over-explain, overshare, and overcompensate, hoping to be seen in the right way. But a Sigma female knows that being truly exceptional means making people uncomfortable. It means being envied, judged, or even villainized by those who can't grasp the way she moves. That's not a burden. It's proof that she's operating on a different level. So she embraces it. She doesn't seek approval from people who will never get it. She doesn't waste time trying to prove she's good. She lets them think she's a mystery, a contradiction, a problem. Whatever helps them sleep at night. Because at the end of the day, she wasn't born to be understood. She was born to be unforgettable. Number 5. Make power moves in silence, then vanish. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. They broadcast their every move, desperate for attention, hoping that if enough people see their progress, it'll somehow make it more real. Sigma females don't play that game. They move in silence, strategizing, executing, and stacking wins without making a sound. And just when people start to wonder what they've been up to, they're already 3 steps ahead, untouchable, untraceable, and impossible to keep up with. Bragging is a liability. The moment you announce your plans, you invite interference, jealousy, sabotage, unnecessary opinions. People pretend to support you, but deep down, most of them would rather see you struggle than succeed. That's why a Sigma female never gives them the chance. She builds in private. She moves like a shadow, handling her business while everyone else is distracted with empty talk. And when she does succeed, she doesn't throw it in people's faces. She simply vanishes onto the next goal, the next level, the next evolution of herself. This is what makes her so frustrating to those who try to compete with her. They want to study her, track her progress, figure out what she's doing so they can copy or counter it. But they can't, because by the time they realize she's made a move, she's already gone. She doesn't sit around waiting for applause or validation. She lets her results speak for themselves, and the mystery of how she does it. That's what keeps people obsessed. In a world addicted to oversharing, a Sigma female's silence is a weapon. She doesn't give people the blueprint to her success. She doesn't give them the chance to interfere. She operates with the mindset of a ghost, seen only when she wants to be, felt only in the impact of her actions, but never predictable, never fully graspable. By the time people notice what she's done, it's already too late. She's on to the next mission, the next challenge, leaving them stuck in the past, still trying to figure out how she pulled it off. And that's the difference. While they talk about making moves, she's already made them. Number 6, make peace with being the lone wolf. Most people can't handle being alone. They need a pack, a group, a constant stream of validation to feel secure. A Sigma female, she thrives in solitude. She isn't out here searching for people to complete her or a crowd to make her feel relevant. She's already whole and she moves at her own pace, whether anyone is beside her or not. This is why she stands out. She doesn't force connections just to avoid loneliness. She doesn't compromise her standards just to fit in. If the energy isn't right, she'll walk away without a second thought, because she knows that being surrounded by the wrong people is far lonelier than standing alone. Most people are terrified of that level of independence. They settle for shallow friendships and forced conversations just to avoid facing themselves. But a Sigma female, she embraces it. This doesn't mean she dislikes people. Far from it. She just refuses to need them. If she finds someone who aligns with her mindset, great. If not, she keeps moving, unbothered. And that's where the power is. She doesn't waste energy clinging to relationships that drain her. She doesn't beg for loyalty. She doesn't lower her standards just to feel included. She chooses quality over quantity, depth over small talk, and real over convenient. Because of this, she often intimidates people without trying. Most don't understand how she can be so comfortable in her own company. They mistake her independence for arrogance, her quietness for coldness, and her distance for rejection. But she doesn't explain herself. She lets them think whatever they want while she continues walking her path, alone if necessary, but never lost. The truth is, being the lone wolf isn't a weakness. It's a sign of strength. It means you're willing to stand on your own rather than compromise who you are for the sake of company. It means you trust yourself enough to walk away when something doesn't feel right. It means you don't rely on anyone to give you a sense of purpose. And when you operate from that mindset, you don't just survive, you dominate. Number 7, train your mind like a soldier prepares for war. Most people let their emotions control them, reacting impulsively, making choices based on temporary feelings, and then wondering why their lives feel chaotic. A Sigma female doesn't fall into that trap. She trains her mind like a soldier prepares for war, disciplined, sharp, and resistant to emotional manipulation. She understands that emotions are useful, but unchecked emotions, those are dangerous. In a world where people are quick to anger, desperate for validation, and easily swayed by feelings, a Sigma female remains steady. She doesn't make decisions in the heat of the moment because she knows that's when people make the biggest mistakes. She steps back, assesses the situation with logic, and calculates her next move without letting emotions cloud her judgment. If something doesn't serve her long-term goals, it doesn't get her energy. This level of control makes her unpredictable. People expect emotional reactions, outbursts, desperation, impulsive behavior, but she gives them nothing. She doesn't argue just to prove a point. She doesn't chase after people who walk away. She doesn't let guilt, anger, or attachment make choices for her, and because of that she always has the upper hand. While others are losing control, she's already strategizing her next move. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about mastering the ability to separate feelings from decisions. A Sigma female feels deeply, but she doesn't act on every feeling. She may care for someone, but if they start to drain her energy or disrupt her peace, she'll cut them off without hesitation. She may be hurt, but she won't let pain turn her reckless. She knows that sentimental decisions often lead to regret, and she refuses to let temporary emotions create permanent consequences. That's what makes her different. Most people are slaves to their emotions, reacting to every little thing, letting others push their buttons. A Sigma female, on the other hand, moves with purpose. She chooses logic over impulse, strategy over reaction, and discipline over comfort. And that's why she's impossible to break, because while everyone else is controlled by their feelings, she's controlling her reality. Number 8. Never reveal your next move. Most people can't help themselves. They announce every goal, every plan, every step they're about to take as if saying it out loud makes it more real. But in reality, it does the opposite. The more people know about your next move, the more interference you invite. Some will try to copy you, others will try to compete, and the worst ones? They'll work behind the scenes to make sure you fail. That's why a Sigma female keeps her mouth shut and lets her results do all the talking. There's a reason silence is a weapon. The less people know, the less they can control, predict, or manipulate. A Sigma female understands this at her core. She doesn't go around hyping up what she's about to do, she just does it. While others are busy talking about their plans, seeking validation, or fishing for encouragement, she's executing. By the time they realize what she's accomplished, it's already done, and they're left wondering how she pulled it off. It's not about being secretive for the sake of mystery. It's about protecting her energy. Talking about your next move drains power from it. It opens the door for doubt, unwanted opinions, and distractions. And let's be real, most people don't actually want you to win. They might smile and nod, but deep down, they either don't care or would rather see you stay exactly where you are. A Sigma female doesn't give them the chance to influence her path. She moves in silence, does the work, and when the time is right, she lets her success be the grand reveal. This approach also makes her impossible to track. People who don't know what you're doing can't predict your next step. They can't interfere with something they don't see coming. That's why she operates like a ghost, untraceable, unpredictable, and always ahead of the game. When she wins, it's not because she bragged her way to success. It's because she worked in the dark, stayed focused, and moved with the kind of discipline most people will never understand. And that's why when she finally does reveal her success, it's not just impressive, it's untouchable. It's number 9. Control the conversation without saying much. Power isn't in the words you say, it's in how you hold your space. Most people try to dominate conversations by talking the loudest, interrupting, or over-explaining. A Sigma female? She does the opposite. She controls the room without wasting breath. A well-timed silence, a subtle glance, or an unreadable expression can make people more desperate for her attention than 1,000 words ever could. When someone speaks to a Sigma female, they're expecting immediate reactions, agreement, disagreement, validation, something. But when she simply pauses, takes a slow blink, or tilts her head slightly, it throws them off balance. That silence? It forces them to rethink what they just said. Did they say something wrong? Did they impress her or bore her? That tiny gap in response creates tension, and tension makes people chase. They start over-explaining, seeking her approval, or adjusting their energy to match hers, all without her lifting a finger. This is why she never rushes to fill silences. Most people are uncomfortable with quiet moments in conversation. They blurt out unnecessary details, reveal too much, or expose their insecurities just to avoid the awkwardness. A Sigma female sits in that silence with confidence. She knows that whoever speaks first usually loses control of the exchange. And when she does finally speak, every word carries weight. Because she isn't constantly talking, people listen when she does. Her mystery is a magnet. When she doesn't react the way people expect, they become obsessed with figuring her out. Is she impressed? Is she bored? Does she even like them? The more they try to decode her, the more they invest in getting her attention. She's not playing hard to get, she is hard to get. And that's what makes her presence unforgettable. Number 10. Be so emotionally unavailable that it confuses people. Most people are used to getting emotional feedback, whether it's excitement, anger, approval, or disappointment. They expect reactions because that's how they gauge where they stand. But a Sigma female, she gives them nothing. No unnecessary smiles, no nervous laughter, no visible irritation when someone tries to push her buttons. She remains unshakable, unreadable, and utterly unmoved. And that's what confuses people the most. When someone can't figure out how you feel, they start questioning themselves. Did they impress you or bore you? Did they offend you, or do you just not care? The absence of emotional cues makes them spiral into overthinking, and in their scramble to get some kind of reaction, they expose their own insecurities. They might test you, try to provoke you, or even act overly friendly just to see if they can crack your composure. But that's their battle, not yours. This doesn't mean a Sigma female is cold or lacks emotions. It means she controls them. She doesn't hand out her energy freely, nor does she give people the satisfaction of knowing they've gotten under her skin. When something or someone isn't worth an emotional investment, she simply doesn't make one. And when she does express something, it actually means something, because she isn't emotionally available to just anyone. This level of detachment makes her impossible to manipulate. Guilt tripping doesn't work. Love bombing doesn't work. Drama doesn't work. People realize that their usual tactics don't affect her, and that's when the confusion sets in. They either become obsessed with winning her over or frustrated that they can't shake her. Either way, she remains in control. She isn't playing games. She simply refuses to be another predictable pawn in someone else's emotional chaos. Number 11. Don't give away your power by explaining yourself. Most people feel an uncontrollable need to explain themselves, to prove they're good, smart, or worthy of approval. A Sigma female? She doesn't bother. If someone questions her choices, her personality, or even her silence, she lets them sit in their confusion. She knows that explaining herself is just another way of handing over her power. When someone asks, "Why are you like this?" they're not looking for understanding. They're looking for control. They want to categorize you, label you, and make sense of you in a way that's comfortable for them. But a Sigma female isn't here to make people comfortable. She's here to be her. And that alone is enough to unsettle the average person. Silence is her greatest response. When she refuses to explain, people don't get closure. They don't get the satisfaction of putting her into a neat little box. Instead, they become obsessed. Their curiosity turns into frustration, and that frustration turns into an endless cycle of trying to figure her out. And the best part? The more they try, the less they understand. This is why a Sigma female never over-explains, never justifies, and never seeks to be understood. If someone doesn't get her, that's their problem. If they assume something about her, she lets them. If they're uncomfortable with her energy, she doesn't shrink herself to fix it. She knows that mystery is more powerful than clarity, and that keeping people guessing is far more effective than convincing them of anything. People are wired to chase what they don't fully grasp. They crave explanations, reactions, and validation. But when a Sigma female refuses to give them that, she remains untouchable. While others are stuck trying to prove themselves, she simply exists, unapologetic, unbothered, and in complete control of her own narrative. At the end of the day, being a Sigma female isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about being untouchable, unshakable, and completely in control of your own energy. The world will try to figure you out, label you, challenge you, and even push you into justifying yourself. But the real power lies in your refusal to play their game. When you move in silence, remain emotionally unreadable, and stop explaining yourself, you become something most people can't handle. A mystery they'll never solve, and that's exactly why they'll never forget you. Sigma females don't chase approval. They command respect. They don't waste energy proving their worth, because their presence alone does that for them. They don't seek validation. They are the standard. While the world gets lost in noise, drama, and endless cycles of self-doubt, a Sigma moves differently, calculated, disciplined, and always 3 steps ahead. So let people misunderstand you. Let them get confused, frustrated, or obsessed with trying to figure you out. That's their battle, not yours. Your job isn't to be liked, understood, or even accepted. It's to move through life on your terms. No apologies, no explanations, and absolutely no compromises. Because at the end of the day, the strongest force in the world isn't the one that shouts the loudest. It's the one that moves in silence, acts with purpose, and leaves people speechless. If you made it this far, you're already thinking like a Sigma, silent, strategic, and always ahead of the game. Now here's your next power move. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another drop of wisdom. Hit that like button if this spoke to you, and leave a comment below. Whether you're a Sigma female yourself or just trying to understand one, I want to hear your thoughts. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Let's keep building this unstoppable community. Stay sharp, stay unapologetic, and I'll see you in the next one.